Hey YouTube, it's Marita and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. And in this edition, we're actually answering a question that I had left in my one of my comments. And I want to go ahead and answer this question. Is one of those requires a whole video to itself just because of the complexity of the question. So Tiffany asked, please do a video on how you control and engage your students in the classroom. So this video is specifically for nurse educators such as Tiffany and other people who may be in nursing education, or really any other education as well in terms of teaching. She states that I noticed that as I am lecturing and asking questions during my lecture, my LPN students are either sleeping, look uninterested, or taking multiple bathroom breaks. In addition, can you touch on some educational aids or skills utilized? For instance, including videos, pre-test and post-test, etc. Thank you for being you and spilling your expertise. Your videos are truly appreciated. So thank you, Tiffany. So let's go ahead and dive right on into the first question, or the first question. She says, do a video on how you control and engage your students in the classroom. Tiffany, first thing first is you have to have classroom management, and you have to have that done day one. So when you walk into the classroom the very first day of class and you go over your syllabus, during that time period is when you have to make sure that you have told them what the expectations are in your class, what you will do, what the consequences are, and you have to make sure you follow up on those consequences. So for instance, in my classroom, there's a no cell phone policy, meaning that they can have it on them, they can have it on silent, but if I see them playing with their phone, they're dismissed from the class. If I see them doing anything that they're not allowed to be doing in certain terms of being disruptive, if they continue to be disruptive, disrespectful, they're dismissed from the class. I set the tone day one. This is what I expect. This is what we'll do. And if these are the consequences, if you do not do them. Also, if they do not do them, again, I follow through with the consequences. If they can call your bluff every single time because you say you're going to do something and you don't, then you're not, they know they can call your bluff. They're going to undermine you. They're not going to respect you. And they're not going to respect your authority. Let's say that. They may not respect you, but they're not going to respect your authority. And in this case, it's about respecting your authority figure and the fact that you are the educator, they are the student, and you demand that they respect you as such. Also, I've had recently in my semester this time where I was asking questions, just as you say, and I had other students talking. So I had a student responding to my question, and many of us could not hear him talk because of the fact that other students were engaging in conversations amongst themselves, and it got to the point that was so loud that it really disrupted the person who was talking. So I simply stopped the class and I said, you know what, you all are being totally disrespectful to this student who was speaking. And it's not tolerated. If you all feel that you need to have side conversations, you need to take those out in the hallway. And while you're out there, go ahead and go on home, because that is not allowed in this classroom. We respect one another when people are talking, and we give them that space to talk freely, and we engage and we listen. You have to demand what you want done in your classroom. And if they do not adhere to those types of things, then they have to go. There has to be a consequence to it. I don't tolerate anything, therefore we don't have any problems, because I set it off on day one. I set the tone, shall I say, on day one. I do not come in here trying to act like I'm trying to be somebody's friend, because I'm not. That's the worst thing you can do. You are not there to be a friend. You are there to be an educator. Now, does that mean that you have to be mean? Of course not. I'm not mean to my students, but I am direct and to the point, and they know I do not play. Now, at the end of the semester, as the semester goes on, they begin to realize, okay, she's not mean. She's just stern, and this is what she means. And we have no problems with my classrooms. I don't have any problems because I command or demand that, let's just say I establish that day one. And every time someone infringes upon that, I carry out that consequence that I told them it would be. You can step out the classroom. And then we mentioned about having, they look disinterested and things like that, either sleeping. So if they're sleepy, because my class is after lunch. Naturally, after lunch, where we just ate, we're all sleepy, right? So what I typically do is I happen to have active learning exercises. So instead of passive learning where you're lecturing the entire time, you should be doing active learning exercises. You should not be doing passive learning. Passive learning is where they come to class and they sit there and you lecture the entire time. It should not be like that. You should be lecturing no more than about 20 to 30 minutes of your entire class time, depending on how long your class is. And then the rest of the time, they're doing active learning activities to facilitate what they are being taught. Now, mind you, with that being said, they should have already came in prepared for class, meaning they've already read the material ahead of time, because you don't have time to go over all these chapters, for 2 or 3 or 4 hours every single class time. You don't have time for that. What should be happening is they should be reading ahead of time in class, meaning they should, if you said read chapters 1 through 5 for tomorrow's class, they should have read chapters 1 through 5. Now, how do I assure my students do that? I do something called a ticket to class, meaning that I will make some type of assignment based off of the reading. In order to come to my classroom, you have had to answer that question. And you bring me your document that you have answered the question, and then I will ask questions regarding the information while in class. And again, that's how I have students to stay engaged in the class, for one. Number two, it assures that most of them are reading. Now, mind you, that's not 100%. All students don't read, but their grades will reflect it. And when they realize that my class, you have to read, they will do so. So in terms of the bathroom breaks, I give my students every 50 minutes, they get a bathroom break. So for every 1 hour of class, I teach for 10 minutes, they have a break where they can go use their phone, they can use their restroom, and they can talk for those 10 minutes. Once those 10 minutes are up, I resume class at that point in time, and the next 50 minutes go by, the same thing happens. So I give ample time. They get a whole total of about almost 20 minutes per class, about 20 minutes per class, where I give them ample time to get a break and to go to the restroom and to talk and to do the things they need to do, get water, whatever it happens to be. Now, I do say if they have something going on in their families, their life, that they need to have their phone on vibrate or something like that, and they need to take that phone call, that's fine. Just get up and go outside the class. But they know I have a strict policy, and when things like that happen, they know that, okay, they're going to usually let me know ahead of time. They'll say, you know what, I have something going on at home, just in case I step out of the class. They let me know ahead of time. Because again, I don't tolerate it. You have to not tolerate it. Start day one. So you said some other educational aids or skills used. So this is the thing. I use YouTube videos. I use active learning exercises, meaning that I flip my class. I don't teach the entire time. I let them teach each other. Education, or actually evidence-based practice and research evidence-based research states that students learn best from one another. So flip your class, meaning that they present to each other the material for that particular class. That will mean that you have to prep for that. Incorporate group presentations. Have a group project of some sort where they have to present a PowerPoint or some type of presentation on something. Always make sure your students are engaged with it. They have to do the work. You could do things like reverse case studies, where you give them the concept, you give them a nursing diagnosis, if you will, and they have to come up with a scenario and create their own NCLEX style questions. You can do all kinds of things to help with active learning exercises. The days of passive learning are behind us. But passive learning is really where your student typically comes in unprepared, typically. They're unprepared. They come in, they have not read anything, and they expect you to pour all the answers into them. That's not how it works, okay? We don't have time for that. So you want to increase by having more active learning exercises where they are the ones who are actively involved in their education. Regarding the tickets to class, I always have activities that require them to drop into the Dropbox and things like that for a grade. Some programs allow, like our program does allow us to have other activities to do or assignments to do outside of the test. Some programs do not. I actually think those programs are better, the ones that allow you to have activities to do that are outside of the testing. So those tickets to class, that's worth 10% of their grade. Now there's only 10 tickets, so that means they're worth 1% each. Well, the thing is, what they don't realize is when it's 1% each, that could be the difference between passing a class or not. That could be the difference between one letter grade versus another. So they may not take it seriously when it comes to the 1 or 2 that has to be done, but I guarantee you, if they teeter in on that failing grade or one letter grade to another, they're gonna wish they had did those tickets to class. So those are some activities that you could do. I do quizzes. I don't really do post-test. I'm coming up with different things to do when it comes to other activities. One thing I will say that I typically do is before school starts, and for me, school starts on January 18th. About 2 weeks before classes start, I send out a welcome letter to my students. In that welcome letter, I set the expectations on that welcome letter. My name is, this is the class I'm going to be teaching, this is what the expectations are. I kind of go through a mini It's not the whole syllabus, but it's pulling out certain points of the syllabus in terms of what books you need for class, what the first day of class is going to look like, what kind of assignments we're going to have overall. You're going to have this many quizzes. You're going to have this many group projects, how you were going to learn. And then I set down those expectations regarding whether we're going to have, active learning activities or what. I also set the expectations regarding having the cell phone policy or certain policies. You have to, I put in my syllabus, you have to read to be successful in this class. So I'm actually going to include a new section. To be successful in this class, you have to have these things, you have to do these things. And I'm going to put in there, you have to read prior to class. You have to read the whole chapter if that's what I assigned. Whatever I assigned, that's what you read. You have to do all your assignments. There is no late work. So I kind of put all those things in it's like I said, a mini version of the syllabus that's kind of broke down and edited so that they can have an understanding 2 weeks before they even come to my class exactly what it's going to be like. And they'll know, okay, she don't play. And that's the key right there, to not play. When they know they can run circles around you, they know they can call your bluff, that's what they're going to do. So you have to be mindful that you are the educator, they are the student. That's a relationship in itself, but you have to be mindful that you are the one who's in charge, you're the one who's in control, and if you don't have control of your classroom, you have nothing. You can't manage your classroom. I have no problem managing my classroom. I have no problem with cheating for the most part. If they cheat, they're gone. 0. Simple. You have to make sure there's consequences to the actions. And the more you do that, the more you will see things streamline. If you still have problems with certain students, I'm not saying this is false, fall proof, that you will still have students who will, push their limits. Again, you have to make sure you follow through. Make sure you're emailing. Make sure you are doing the chain of command when things are not going well. And just stick to your gun and you will be okay. And then also make sure that your higher ups are backing you on the decisions that you make. So whatever decisions you make sure you have the backing of the higher ups, because they will try to go above you to remedy the situation. So always go to your higher ups and say, hey, this is the situation. This is how I'm going to handle it. Make sure, are you going to back me up on this? And that way you stand as a united front type of thing. So hopefully that answered your question. I really wanted to spend time on this particular topic because of the fact that I know people who are educators, they need to know how to manage their classroom. And a lot of times these jobs that we get in education are literally on the job training. There is no real orientation to how this works. I happen to have my master's in nursing education. So in my nursing education program, we tackled all these things. We tackled classroom management. But if you don't have a degree in nursing education or in education in general, then you may not have gotten a special class on classroom management and things like that. So hopefully this helps. Thank you, Tiffany, for that question. And if you have any more questions regarding education, definitely let me know. This video is specifically for educators, but of course, anybody who wants to watch it can watch the video as you so choose. Follow me on IG and TikTok. Please subscribe, follow, all those things per normal. And until the next time, you all take care. Bye-bye.